The testimonies featured on this channel are presented as received, reflecting the personal experience and perspectives of the individuals who have generously shared them with us. We do not verify or authenticate the events described. We encourage our viewers to approach these testimonies with compassion and understanding, as these are personal testimonies of people involved. We also encourage you to always refer to the Holy Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ and his apostles for guidance. Throughout history, countless people have reported near-death experiences, some describing heavenly encounters and others speaking of terrifying journeys into the depths of darkness. Tonight, we bring you the chilling and deeply emotional story of Amina, a devoted Muslim woman from Egypt who never imagined that her soul would witness the torment of hell. Amina was raised in a devout Muslim family, praying 5 times a day, fasting during Ramadan, and doing her best to live a righteous life. She never thought she would ever question her faith, nor did she believe she had anything to fear in the afterlife. However, after a tragic accident left her clinically dead for several minutes, she found herself in a place no human should ever witness, a place of unimaginable suffering, where the cries of the damned echoed endlessly. What she saw, heard, and felt changed her forever. It is a story of horror, regret, and an urgent warning to the living. Let's hear from Amina as she recounts her terrifying journey beyond death.
I never imagined that I would see death so soon. It happened so fast. One moment, I was walking across the busy streets of Cairo, and the next, there was a blaring horn, a sharp impact, and then nothing. Everything went silent. I felt myself floating, weightless, detached from my body. I saw people gathering around me. I saw my own body lying motionless on the ground, blood pooling around my head. I heard the sirens of an ambulance, but I felt no pain. Then, an invisible force pulled me upward, faster and faster. I thought I was going to the heavens, but suddenly, everything turned dark. The warmth of the sun vanished, and an icy chill wrapped around me. I was no longer floating. I was falling into a void so deep and endless that I lost all sense of time. The darkness wasn't empty, it was alive, watching me, waiting. Then, I heard the first scream. A scream so full of agony that it pierced my soul. Before I could react, the darkness split open, revealing a landscape I cannot describe without my whole body trembling. The sky was a thick, suffocating black smoke, and below me stretched a vast pit of burning fire. The air was filled with the scent of burning flesh, sulfur, and something worse, despair. I landed with a force that knocked the air out of my lungs, but when I gasped, I choked on the thick, sulfuric air. My eyes stung. My ears rang with the tormented cries of thousands, no, millions of souls. Some were chained, others were crawling, their bodies covered in blisters and wounds that would never heal. I tried to stand, but my legs felt weak. And then I saw them, figures, monstrous yet human-like, with eyes that burned like embers. Their faces were twisted, their grins cruel. They had long claws, and their laughter was a chilling mixture of mockery and hunger. One of them reached for me. His touch burned like fire, but it wasn't just my skin that burned, my soul ignited with pain so intense I thought I would lose my mind. "You don't belong here," he hissed. "Not yet. But you were close, so close." I screamed and tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. Around me, souls were wailing, begging for mercy. Some were whispering prayers, others were cursing the very existence of God. I saw people I recognized. A neighbor who had died years ago in an accident. A teacher from my childhood. Their faces were filled with horror and agony. "Amina," one of them croaked, "don't let them take you." Tears streamed down my face. Why am I here? I sobbed. I prayed, I fasted, I did everything right. The creature laughed, a sound that made my skin crawl. Did you? You lived your life believing that prayer alone would save you. But did you have true faith? Did you show kindness? Did you forgive? Did you love, Amina? Or did you judge? Did you hate? Did you neglect the whispers of your conscience? His words cut through me like knives. My mind raced. Had I been truly good? Or had I only followed rules without understanding their meaning? Suddenly, a new wave of heat blasted through the pit, and I saw something that made my heart stop. A massive creature, unlike anything I had ever imagined, emerged from the flames. Its eyes burned brighter than the fire itself, and it carried a whip made of chains that glowed red-hot. Souls trembled and cowered as it passed. When it spoke, the very air trembled. Who dares enter before their time? It bellowed. The demon holding me let go and bowed. She is a visitor, but she was close to staying. The massive creature turned its gaze on me. Its stare burned into my soul, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely naked, not physically, but spiritually. Every sin, every mistake, every hidden thought I had ever had was laid bare before it. Then I heard a voice so deep and powerful it shook the very ground beneath me. Return her. The demons hissed, displeased, but they did not disobey. In an instant, I felt the same force that had pulled me down now yanking me upward. The cries of the damned faded, the fire became a distant glow, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by blinding light. I gasped real air, filling my lungs. My body ached. I was back. Alive. I woke up in the hospital, my mother crying beside me. The doctor said I had been unconscious for minutes. But I knew the truth. I had been gone for what felt like an eternity. And I will never, ever be the same again. When I woke up in the hospital, my entire body was trembling. I could still feel the heat of that place on my skin. My mother held my hand, tears in her eyes, thanking Allah that I had survived. The doctor said I had been unconscious for only a few minutes, but I knew better. Time in that place was different. I had been gone for what felt like an eternity. I wanted to believe it was just a nightmare, a hallucination from the trauma. But the pain in my soul, the weight in my chest, told me otherwise. The voices, the screams, the burning touch of those creatures, it all felt too real. And worst of all, I could still hear their whispers. That night, as I lay in the hospital bed, I struggled to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the pit of fire, the twisted faces of the damned, their cries echoing in my mind. And then, just as I drifted into unconsciousness, I felt a presence in my room. At first, I thought it was a nurse. But when I turned my head, I saw a shadow standing in the corner. It wasn't human. It was tall, thin, its limbs impossibly long. Its eyes glowed dimly, like dying embers, and its mouth stretched into a grotesque grin. It spoke, not with words, but directly into my mind. You saw us. You know the truth. And we are always watching. My body froze. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I wanted to move, but I was paralyzed. It took a step forward, its feet making no sound on the cold hospital floor. You thought you escaped? It whispered. No one escapes. One day, you will return. And this time, there will be no mercy. I shut my eyes, praying with all my strength. I recited every verse of the Quran I could remember, my lips moving frantically, desperate to make it stop. And just as suddenly as it appeared, the presence vanished. The room was silent again, but I could still feel it watching me. The next morning, I told my mother everything. At first, she thought it was the medication, the trauma. But when I described the things I saw, the people, the punishments, the creatures, her face went pale. "Amina," she whispered, gripping my hand tightly. "What you are describing, I have heard it before." She told me about an old woman in our village who had a similar near-death experience. She had died for a few minutes and returned with terrifying visions of the afterlife. She spoke of the same fire, the same screams, the same creatures. But no one believed her. People thought she was crazy. She spent the rest of her life praying, seeking forgiveness, warning others, but they only mocked her. A chill ran down my spine. I wasn't the only one. For weeks after my recovery, I felt different. The world seemed darker. The things I once loved felt meaningless. I no longer cared about my career, my ambitions, the things that once excited me. All I could think about was what I saw, what I felt, what I had barely escaped. I became obsessed with learning more. I read every book, listened to every scholar, searching for answers. What had I done wrong? Why was I shown this vision? Was I truly destined for that place? And then, something happened that shook me even more. One night, as I was performing wudu, ablution, before prayer, I looked into the mirror, and for a split second, I didn't see myself. I saw her. A woman I had seen in the pit of hell. She was staring at me, her eyes hollow, her mouth open in a silent scream. I stumbled back, gasping. And just like that, she was gone. I knew then that this wasn't over. That place, those souls, they weren't just a vision. They were real. And somehow, they were still connected to me. I started having vivid dreams. In them, I was back in the pit, watching the punishments of the damned. I saw people clawing at the walls, trying to escape. I saw women with their tongues being cut out again and again, screaming in agony. I saw men being dragged by chains through rivers of molten fire. And the worst part? I saw some of them being pulled in, as if they had just arrived. I realized then, this was still happening. Souls were still falling. The pit was never full. More were coming, every second, every minute. And one night, I recognized someone. A girl from my university. We weren't friends, but I knew her. She had died in a car accident a few months ago. In my dream, I saw her screaming, trying to climb out of the fire, but hands, dark, skeletal hands, were pulling her back in. "Tell them!" She shrieked, her eyes wild with terror. "Tell them before it's too late." I woke up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding. I had to warn people. I couldn't stay silent. I started speaking about my experience, first to my family, then to friends. Some believed me. Others called me crazy. Some even got angry, accusing me of spreading fear. But I didn't care. I knew what I saw. And I knew I wasn't meant to forget. Even now, years later, I still feel them watching. I still hear the whispers when I close my eyes. I still wake up gasping for air, my body trembling from nightmares. I am not the same Amina I was before. I no longer live for this world, I live for the next. And I beg you, whoever is listening, please, do not wait until it is too late. Because once you are there, there is no way out.